My dear child, come in from the noise. For just a few moments, I am asking you to step away from the relentless clamor of the world, from the endless scroll of distractions, from the urgent and ceaseless demands on your time and your attention. I need to speak with you, not with the hurried, shallow exchange of passing strangers, but with the focused, intentional gravity of a father who has waited a very long time to share something of eternal significance with his beloved child. There are moments in a life that arrive unannounced, almost silent, yet they hold the weight of our entire future within them. They are not loud, but they are heavy with divine purpose. This, right now, as you receive this, as your eyes scan these words, is one of those moments. It has found you not by accident, not by random chance, but by a holy and meticulously planned appointment. I have lived a long life, a life filled with seasons of joy and seasons of profound struggle, and if I have learned one thing with unshakable certainty, it is how to recognize the atmosphere of a sacred encounter. It doesn't crash in like a storm that shakes the house. It often descends as a clear, quiet sound that only our soul can hear. It is a single, pure note that cuts through all the static of our anxieties, our duties, and our fears, and it speaks a truth we instantly recognize as the thing we have been waiting for, even if we did not know what it was. That sound, that holy frequency, has traveled through eternity with your name on it, specifically to find you, right now, in this state, in this place. What I am about to share is not merely a collection of uplifting ideas or a simple devotional thought. It is a direct and living encounter. It is a sacred communication from the very heart of God, releasing a specific truth meant uniquely and exclusively for your path. It is an act of divine intervention tailored for you. So I must implore you, with all the earnestness and love a heart can hold, do not let this moment slip away. Settle the frantic rhythm of your breath. Still the racing of your mind. Grant me your undivided attention until this communication is complete, for the stakes are higher than you can imagine. To turn away now, to dismiss this as just another message, would be to risk missing the single most significant and transformative word you will ever receive in your lifetime. It would be the equivalent of standing before a door that has finally swung open into the life you have only dared to dream of, and choosing, out of habit or doubt, to turn back to the familiar, cramped room of your past struggles, the very fabric of your material state, the atmosphere of peace and accord in your household, and the fundamental nature of your journey with God could be completely and irrevocably transformed by what happens here in the sanctuary of these next moments. Before we can properly celebrate a victory, we must first fully comprehend the nature and the intensity of the war we have been fighting. For a long time, perhaps for many years, you have been engaged in a relentless conflict without fully realizing its source, its rules, or its strategic objectives. You have only felt its exhausting, debilitating effects. It is that soul-crushing feeling of pushing with all your might against an invisible, immovable wall. It is the deep weariness that comes from taking one painful step forward, only to be mysteriously and forcefully pushed 2 steps back. It is the quiet agony of watching doors of opportunity, of provision, of relationship, swing wide open for others with seemingly minimal effort, while the ones set before you remain stubbornly and inexplicably locked, no matter how hard you knock, how fervently you pray, or how sincerely you live. You have labored with your hands, you have cried out with your heart, you have done all you knew to do, and yet a persistent, shadow-like force of hindrance has seemed to dog your every step, frustrating your best efforts and leaving you wondering what is wrong with you. I need you to let this truth sink past your intellect and into the very bedrock of your spirit. This prolonged struggle has not been a reflection of your worth, nor has it been a sign of God's displeasure or absence. It is, in fact, the undeniable proof that you are immensely significant in the economy of God. You are important enough to be considered a threat. You have been in a real, targeted spiritual battle. Just beyond the thin veil of what your five senses can perceive, a genuine contention has been waged over your destiny. An adversary, an opposer of your soul and of God's purpose for you, has actively worked against your life. Why? Because from the moment you were conceived, he saw the incredible, unique potential God placed within you. He saw the divine design for your future, the legacy intended to flow through your family, and the unshakable inner resilience that God wove into the fabric of your spirit. It is for these very reasons, because of the great light you carry, that he has labored against you in every conceivable manner. His entire nefarious strategy has been focused on three primary objectives: to diminish you, to impede your progress, and to weaken your spirit. Let us drag these tactics out of the shadows and into the light, so they can never again hold power over you. First, he has sought to diminish you. He does this by whispering insidious lies of unworthiness directly into your thoughts, convincing you on a subconscious level that you are fundamentally flawed, uniquely broken, and undeserving of good things. He is the master projectionist, replaying the reel of your past failures, mistakes, and moments of shame in the theater of your mind, ensuring the painful emotions tied to them are always fresh and potent. He masterfully uses the curated highlight reels of others' lives, what you see on social media or hear in conversation, to make you feel small, forgotten, behind, and utterly left out. His goal is to shrink your perception of yourself until you no longer dare to ask God for big things. Second, he has sought to impede your progress. This is a strategy of external frustration. He creates chaos and confusion where there should be clarity. He orchestrates sudden, inexplicable financial crises just when you are on the verge of stability. He stirs up strife, misunderstanding, and offense with people who are meant to be your allies, your partners, or your helpers, effectively turning potential support systems into sources of pain and opposition. He clouds pathways that once seemed clear and God-given, making you second-guess your own intuition, your discernment, and God's leading, until you are paralyzed by indecision. I remember a time in my own life when a crucial business partnership, one that I had prayed over and felt was from God, fell apart overnight due to a ridiculous, petty misunderstanding. It sent me reeling for months. It was only years later that I recognized the strategic spiritual opposition designed to block the good God had intended. Third, he has sought to weaken your spirit. This is his long game, a campaign of spiritual and emotional attrition. He assaults you with a constant, low-grade hum of anxiety about the future, a persistent what if that drains your energy and steals your joy. He uses the friction in your closest, most intimate relationships to exhaust your emotional reserves, knowing that relational strife is one of the quickest ways to deplete a person's spirit. He works overtime to isolate you, to make you feel as if you are the only one struggling this intensely, the only one with these secret fears, fostering a profound sense of loneliness that eats away at your soul until you feel numb and just want to give up. Every one of these struggles with your resources, with those close to you, with your own inner state, they have not been random events. They stemmed from this calculated battle. And the enemy does not want you to hear this message, because he knows a foundational principle of warfare: you cannot defeat an enemy you do not see. His primary weapon has always been deception, keeping you in the dark. He wanted you to believe your struggles were all your fault, or simply a sign that God had forgotten you. But today, the light has been switched on in the war room of your life. You are seeing the battle for what it is, and in that clarity, his power is being broken. Now that the oppressive darkness of the enemy's strategy has been exposed to the light, you are fully prepared to receive the most glorious and liberating truth of this moment. The purpose of identifying the battle was never to instill fear or to make you dwell on the past. It was to give you the necessary context to appreciate the sheer magnitude of the victory that is now being won on your behalf. This is the turning point you have been praying for. The long, weary season of that relentless opposition, that invisible resistance you have felt for so long, is coming to a dramatic, decisive, and final end. I want you to let this next declaration resound in the deepest chambers of your soul, silencing every echo of past defeats. The influence of the one who stood against you is breaking. His legal right in the courts of heaven to impede your progress, to diminish your spirit, to afflict your life, is being revoked by a higher authority. This is not a future hope or a distant promise. It is a present tense reality. A divine intervention, a direct and targeted action from the very throne of heaven, is being released over your life at this very moment. A holy decree has been issued. A word has been sent from the high place regarding your existence, and it is a decree of release, of restoration, and of immediate good intended specifically for you. As you absorb these words, a change is already being ordered in the unseen realm, a change for your material state, for your physical health, for your peace of mind, and for those who live in your household. I want you to hold a powerful image in your mind. Picture a massive illegal dam that has blocked a mighty river for years. That river is the continuous flow of blessing, provision, healing, grace, and opportunity that God has always intended to flow freely and abundantly into every area of your life. The dam is the structure of spiritual opposition that has stood against you, diverting that flow and leaving you in a place of perceived lack and drought. You have been living in the dry riverbed, wondering where the water that others seem to enjoy has gone. But now, at this appointed time, God Himself is striking that dam, not with a physical force, but with the power of His spoken word. The cracks are spreading, the foundation is crumbling, and the flow of what you need, a making whole, a special grace, a river of provision is about to be released with an unstoppable pent-up force. This is why your spirit perceives a change happening even as you hear these words. Can you sense it? Even now, it may be subtle, a slight warmth spreading through your chest, as if a cold spot is finally thawing. A gentle stirring in your spirit, as if something deep inside you that has been dormant for years is beginning to awaken, a sense of lightness in your soul where there has long been a heavy, oppressive weight. Do not dismiss this as your imagination or as a product of wishful thinking. That is a validation. That is the tangible presence of the Holy Spirit reaching out as a direct confirmation that your time has come, that your silent prayers in the deep night have been heard, and that your release is at hand. You are standing on the very edge of a release from the divine. However, and this is a point of profound importance that requires your full attention, this powerful move of God is not entirely automatic. It is designed to be a partnership. It is contingent upon your participation. It requires your faith. Your adversary knows this. His final, desperate strategy, now that he has been exposed, is to get you to do nothing. He wants you to remain a passive spectator. He will whisper, "This is too good to be true," or "Don't get your hopes up." Or he will suddenly flash an urgent distraction before your eyes to pull your attention away from this sacred moment. He wants you to doubt what you are feeling and let this window of opportunity close. But faith, my dear child, is not a passive feeling or a simple intellectual agreement. To be effective, to be a world-changing force, faith must be acted upon. It must be given a voice. It must be given substance. This brings us to a crucial spiritual principle, the power of declaration. The unseen spiritual realm is a legal realm. It responds to authority, to words, and to declarations of agreement. This is why I am now asking you to perform a simple, yet profoundly powerful act. I want you to take a pen and a piece of paper, or open a new file on your computer or phone. Treat this as a sacred, solemn moment, like signing a treaty or a deed. You must write these words down, consciously, deliberately, and with focused intention. Quote, "I receive this gift from you, Lord." Let me explain the spiritual mechanics of why this is so critical. This is not a magic trick or a superstitious ritual. It is a visible sign of your invisible faith, and the unseen world takes profound legal notice of such actions. When you physically write these words, you are accomplishing several powerful things at once. First, you are creating an anchor for your soul. This written record becomes a physical testament, a memorial stone that you can look back on when feelings of doubt or old patterns try to creep back in later. It is your proof of receipt. Second, you are signing your name to God's decree. You are officially putting your agreement on the record, signifying your active consent to what He is doing in your life. In the spiritual realm, your agreement is your permission, and your permission grants Him license to move in an even greater way. Third, you are serving final notice to the enemy that you are no longer a passive victim of his schemes, but an active, authorized receiver of God's goodness. Your belief, demonstrated through this physical act of writing, removes spiritual obstacles that have been present for a long time. Please, do not delay. This moment is revealing your faith. Do not be counted among the many who hear words like these, feel a flicker of hope, but then hesitate and return to their old paths, only to find themselves in the same barren place months or years later, crying out for help and wondering why their situation is the same. Be the one who hears, believes, and acts. Write it now. Because when you voice this, when you write it, possibilities emerge, something gives way, something starts. And there is another declaration you must make. The one who opposed you thought you would remain silent, defeated, and weary. Instead, you are to declare your new reality. You are to speak it aloud and write it down now. The opposition failed. I am rising in victory. This is more than positive thinking. It is a decree. Every time you speak or write this, it becomes a powerful statement of truth that resonates in the heavens and shakes the kingdom of darkness. You are shifting your posture from one of defensive endurance to one of offensive purpose. You are declaring the legal end of the old battle and the beginning of your visible triumph. Say it again, clearly, then affirm it in a way that makes it real to you. The moment you declare it, you are no longer simply enduring challenges. You are moving forward with divine purpose, and everything in the spiritual realm must respond to that truth. Now, with the glorious truth of your victory declared, and the fresh dawn of a new season breaking over the horizon of your life, your mind may naturally drift back. As the light floods in, it can illuminate the dark corners of the past, and a question, born of real pain and long suffering, may arise from the depths of your heart. If this release, this victory, was always part of the plan, why did I have to endure so much for so long? Why the pain? Why the waiting? It is a valid and deeply human question, and the answer is absolutely crucial for your ability to walk into this new era whole, without the heavy baggage of past resentment or confusion. You must come to understand with profound certainty that your waiting was never a punishment. It was a profound and necessary preparation. You were never being overlooked, you were being forged. Let me ask you to step with me into the workshop of a master blacksmith. It is a place of intense, almost unbearable heat, of loud, jarring noises, and of great, unrelenting pressure. On a bench lies a plain piece of raw, unrefined steel. It has potential, it has inherent strength, but it is shapeless, rough, and full of hidden impurities and microscopic fractures that would cause it to fail under real pressure. The master's goal is not merely to clean the steel, but to transform it into something of magnificent purpose and unbreakable strength, perhaps a king's sword, a vital structural beam, or a master surgeon's tool. To do this, he must first subject it to the intense, purifying heat of the fire. This represents those seasons of overwhelming trial in your life, the times the pressure from your circumstances, your health, or your relationships felt so intense you thought it would utterly consume you. The purpose of that fire was not to destroy you, but to burn away the hidden impurities of pride, fear, and self-reliance, and to make your spirit malleable and ready to be shaped by the master's loving hand. Then, the blacksmith takes the glowing, softened metal with his tongs and places it upon the anvil. The anvil represents the unshakable, unchangeable truth of God's word and his character. It is the solid foundation upon which all true work is done. Holding the metal of your life firmly against that truth, he begins to strike it with his heavy hammer. These hammer blows represent the hardships, the specific disappointments, the sharp pains of betrayal, loss, and failure that felt so personal and so cruel. Each strike, though jarring and painful, is not random. The master's hand is precise, his eye is certain, his rhythm is intentional. He is hammering out hidden weaknesses and structural faults you didn't even know you had. He is shaping you according to a specific, perfect design that only he can see. He is building a strength and resilience in you, an ability to withstand future pressures without breaking that could be formed in no other way. Every tear you shed, every moment you chose to persevere when you wanted to quit, every time you chose forgiveness over bitterness, was a necessary and deliberate blow from the master's hammer, shaping you for what was to come. After the intense heat and the relentless hammering, he plunges the hot, reshaped steel into a trough of cold water. This is the quenching. This represents the seasons of sudden shock in your life, the jolts of unexpected loss, the painful betrayals that chilled you to the bone, the chilling feeling of isolation when you were misunderstood or abandoned by those you trusted. This process, which feels so violent and shocking, is what tempers the steel. It locks in the strength and the new shape imparted by the fire and the hammer. It rearranges the very molecular structure of your spirit, giving it a durability, a flexibility, and a hardness that it could never possess otherwise. It is what makes you unbreakable. Throughout this entire arduous process, the master blacksmith never once takes his loving, focused eye off the precious piece he is crafting. He was right there with you, feeling the heat, directing the blows, and knowing the exact moment to quench you. The waiting, the process, the very pain you endured was his intentional, loving guidance, bringing you to a state of completeness and readiness. The blessing, the purpose, the anointing that he is now releasing into your life is so precious, so weighty, and so powerful that it could not be entrusted to the unrefined version of you. It required the forged, tempered, and proven version of you that stands here today ready. Your persistent faith, even when it was just a smoking ember, always carried meaning. You were not being delayed. You were being perfectly and lovingly positioned for this exact moment. This new season of divine intervention and outward blessing demands an equally profound inner transformation. It is not enough for your circumstances to change. You, my child, must learn to govern the inner world of your heart and mind with wisdom and authority. For a long time, you may have unknowingly allowed your mind to operate like a chaotic, crowded public square, where any and every thought of fear, of doubt, of anxiety, of self-recrimination was allowed to wander in, set up a stall, and hawk its wares. This has resulted in a persistent inner turmoil, a feeling of being constantly at war with yourself, which has drained you of peace and energy. I am here to tell you with all certainty that this inner chaos is not your natural God-given state. It is not who you are. You must grasp a critical truth that will set you free. Many of the persistent negative thoughts that have plagued your mind do not spring from your own spirit. They are not your authentic thoughts. They are deliberate, targeted intrusions from the same adversary who sought to impede you externally. They are his last line of attack. When he can no longer block your circumstances, he will try to poison your mind to prevent you from enjoying them. These thoughts are designed to unsettle your quietness, to steal your joy, and to seize territory within you that you have already consecrated to God. You are not meant to simply accept and endure this inner turmoil as a permanent feature of your personality. You are meant to reign over your inner world. You are called to cultivate it like a master gardener, diligently pulling the weeds of fear and planting the seeds of truth. You are to transform your mind from a battlefield into a sanctuary of peace. The power to do this is not something you need to acquire. It is already present within you through the Spirit of God. However, it requires your conscious, consistent, and daily participation. Think of it as developing a new skill, the skill of spiritual housekeeping. It involves a simple three-step process: recognize, confront, and replace. First, you must learn to recognize. You must become a discerning gatekeeper of your mind. When a thought enters, you must learn to inspect it. Ask yourself, where did this come from? Does this thought align with who God says I am? Does it produce feelings of fear and condemnation, or peace and life? You will begin to recognize the enemy's signature. His thoughts are always accusing, anxious, discouraging, and heavy. They feel like chains. In contrast, the voice of the Spirit is always encouraging, strengthening, and filled with peace, even when it corrects. This initial step of recognition is crucial. You cannot fight an intruder you have mistaken for a member of the household. Second, once a negative, foreign thought is recognized, you must confront it. You can no longer be passive. This is an act of will. You must refuse to entertain it, to mull it over, to let it take root. Confronting it doesn't mean arguing with it. That gives it too much power. It means you must actively refuse it entry. You can do this by firmly stating, either out loud or in your spirit, I reject that thought. It is not from God, and it has no place here. This is an act of authority. When an unwanted idea of impending doom comes, you steady yourself by leaning on the truth of God's sovereignty and confront the lie. When thoughts of blame or self-pity reappear, you state firmly, my peace within is safe with my God. I am not a victim. Third, and this is the most powerful step, you must replace the lie with the truth. An empty space will quickly be filled again. You cannot simply create a vacuum in your mind. You must fill it with something better. When a thought of fear attacks, you replace it by declaring the truth of God's love and protection. When a thought of inadequacy assaults you, you replace it by meditating on the truth that you are chosen, worthy, and fully equipped by Him. This is why spending time in His Word is not just a religious duty, it is a vital military strategy. You are stocking your inner armory with the truths you will need to replace the lies. When your thinking is securely fixed on the truth of God's existence and His promises, the darkness trying to disturb you loses its power over your inner world. This process, recognize, confront, replace, is not a one-time fix. It is a daily habit, a discipline to be built like a muscle. The more you practice it, the stronger you will become, and the quicker you will be to identify and dismiss the enemy's lies. The ultimate goal is not just to have fewer negative thoughts. God's grand purpose is to make His own dwelling place exactly where those weights and anxieties used to be. Where the Spirit of the Lord resides, there is freedom. And the part of you that is released from what held it bound discovers more than mere quiet. It discovers the very presence of God, which is the source of all true and lasting peace. As your inner world finds its firm foundation in peace, you must now prepare for your outer world to reflect a new and expanded level of abundance and divine purpose. God is not just renewing your inner self for the sake of quiet contemplation. He is expanding your capacity to receive, to hold, and to manage His blessings in the world. For a long, long time, you may have been unknowingly trapped by a false and debilitating dichotomy, a subtle lie whispered by religion, but not by God. It is the belief that you must choose between a life of full spiritual devotion and a life where your material and relational needs are abundantly met. You may have secretly believed that to be truly holy, you must exist in a state of constant struggle or lack, and that to be blessed with provision, influence, or resources was somehow less spiritual or even carnal. I am here to tell you that this thinking was incorrect. It was a clever strategy of the enemy to keep the children of God limited, ineffective, and in a state of survival rather than revival. Our God is not a God of either or. He is the God of both and. He does not divide the path. He makes it whole. He is now bringing your life into a divine balance, a beautiful and powerful alignment, demonstrating that intimacy with Him and provision from Him have always been meant to be perfectly and seamlessly linked. The strength of your walk will no longer come from endless, anxious striving, but from faithfully, peacefully, and joyfully stewarding what He places in your care. You will come to understand that moving with Him does not mean your needs will go unmet, and having your needs met does not mean you are not moving with Him. You are about to learn to accept joy without feeling guilty. You will learn to accept deep, intimate relationships without fear of loss. You will learn to accept resources without feeling unworthy. You will learn to accept the assignments He calls you to without feeling inadequate. As this new flow of abundance enters your life, you must be prepared for the whispers of the accuser to return, perhaps even through your own thoughts or the well-meaning but misguided comments of others. The question will arise in many forms. Who are you to receive this? Why are you being blessed this way when others are not? You don't deserve this kind of favor. You must be ready to silence that voice, not with arrogance, but with the quiet, unshakable truth. You are receiving this not because you have achieved a state of perfection, but because you have been positioned by grace and have been prepared in the secret fire of faithfulness. It was your private loyalty when no one was watching, your hidden sorrows that you brought to Him instead of to despair, your unwavering decision to keep believing when everything in your world suggested you shouldn't, that captured the heart of your Father. What He is placing in your care now, be it finances, influence, relationships, or opportunities, is not merely for your own comfort or status. That is a worldly view of blessing. In the kingdom, blessing always has a purpose beyond the recipient. It is so there will be enough to give away with generosity. It is so you can support others who are struggling. It is so your home can become a place of refuge, peace, and hospitality. It is so you can fund the work He has given you to do. It is so His goodness and nature can flourish and be seen in the world through you. This is the heart of a steward. A steward understands a fundamental truth that an owner does not. The resources are not mine, they belong to the Master. I have simply been entrusted with them for a season to manage them for His purposes and to produce a return for His kingdom. This mindset changes everything. It removes the trap of pride that comes with abundance because you know it's not truly yours. It removes the terror of fear that comes with lack because you know your source is the Master, not the resources themselves. It replaces both with a peaceful, joyful, and responsible faithfulness. So when the blessing comes a new opportunity, a financial breakthrough, a restored relationship, do not shrink from it in false humility. Do not disqualify yourself with old feelings of unworthiness. Stand tall and receive it with a grateful and responsible heart. Your first question should not be, "What can I do with this for me?" but rather a quiet, prayerful question to the Master. "Lord, what is your divine purpose for this blessing that you have entrusted to me?" This is the question that defines the heart of a true and faithful steward, and it is the noble heart that He is cultivating in you now. You have now received the declaration of your victory. You have been given the understanding of your past, the tools to govern your inner world, and the mindset of a steward for your future. The final, critical question is, how do you walk this out day by day? How do you live in this new reality without slipping back into old patterns? The answer is found in the cultivation of two foundational and active postures: a posture of relentless gratitude and a posture of unshakable steadfastness. Your journey forward is not one of anxious striving to protect your blessing, but of calmly and consistently abiding in the presence of the One who gave it. First, you must become a master practitioner of gratitude. In the kingdom of God, gratitude is not merely a polite "thank you" said in response to a gift. It is a powerful spiritual weapon and a profoundly creative force. In this new season you are entering, your gratitude is not just a reaction to what He has already done. It is an act of proactive preparation for what He is about to do. When you choose to be thankful before you see the full manifestation of His promises, you are expressing an unwavering trust that His word is true. This act of faith does something powerful in the spiritual realm. Thanksgiving enlarges your spirit. It literally increases your capacity to receive more from Him. It also changes the very atmosphere around you. It raises a frequency of praise that quiets the frantic frequency of worry and fear, making it impossible for them to take root in your heart. It creates a holy environment in your life and in your home, an atmosphere that is deeply hospitable to the presence of God and deeply hostile to the presence of the enemy. I urge you to begin this practice now. Do not wait for every circumstance to be perfect. Start your day, before your feet even hit the floor, by speaking your gratitude aloud. Thank Him for the new day, for breath in your lungs, and for the victory that is already yours in the spiritual realm. As you go through your day, become a detective for His grace. Intentionally look for evidence of His goodness in the kindness of a stranger, in a beautiful sunset, in a moment of peace, and acknowledge it with thanks. Thank Him for the challenges that you know are shaping you and for the provision that is sustaining you. This is not about seeming ready outwardly. It is about being prepared in your innermost being. The initial and most powerful move in this daily preparation is the choice to show thanks. When you do this, you are no longer like a beggar pleading from afar. You are like a child coming into perfect step with the will and rhythm of your loving Father. Second, you must be steadfast. As you align more and more with God's purpose for your life, do not be surprised if you encounter moments of intense pressure or turbulence. Do not see this as a sign that you are failing or that the promise was untrue. See it as a clear indication that you are moving in the right direction and that you are a significant threat to the kingdom of darkness. The enemy does not waste his resources on those who pose no threat. As you approach a major breakthrough, painful memories from long ago might suddenly reappear. Familiar desires, old habits, or deep-seated uncertainties may try to creep back in. You must understand that darkness often stirs most violently just before the dawn. The adversary tries to sow maximum confusion precisely when he sees divine order and peace taking hold in your life. In these moments, you must realize you are not breaking down, you are breaking through. Your response must be to stand steady. Do not panic, do not withdraw, do not surrender the peace you have fought so hard to gain. Do not allow a temporary hardship to ruin the permanent work God is doing. You keep your footing by intentionally drawing near to Him. You find your power not by frantic effort, but by releasing your own grip and leaning completely on His infinite strength. You are not experiencing a delay. You are simply in the final phase of the transition, and you are being asked to remain consistent and watchful as He arranges the final pieces around you. This is a time for calm confidence, not anxious haste. You must consciously prepare the space for what is coming. Release what does not belong in the time ahead, forgive old hurts, let go of past pain, renounce limiting beliefs. You are not just being made comfortable, you are being made into a holy space for His purpose to dwell. Your steadfastness during this final push is the ultimate expression of your trust that He who started this good work in you will, without a doubt, bring it to a glorious completion. My cherished child, we have journeyed far together through this message. We have walked from the shadows of a hidden war into the light of a declared victory. You have heard the truth of your sacred appointment, the unmasking of the battle you have so bravely endured, the awesome power of your declaration, the profound purpose behind your pain, and the path to cultivating inner peace and a steward's heart. This has not been a mere transfer of information. It has been an impartation from the Father's heart to yours. It is a framework for a new life, a new beginning that starts today. The place where you now stand, reading these final words, is sacred ground. You have been prepared, forged, and positioned for what lies ahead, a season of purpose, of fruitfulness, and of peace that surpasses all understanding. Let these truths become the new foundation upon which you build your days. Let them sink deeper than bone and marrow, and let the quiet, powerful work that God has done inside you speak louder and more convincingly than any lingering fear or doubt. I urge you now to rise up, not filled with concern for the future, but with a profound sense of honor and deep affection for the One who has so lovingly and meticulously orchestrated all of this for you. Know this truth as you go forward, my cherished one. I am grateful for this time we have shared. I thank you for your courageous belief, for your steadfast trust, and for your willingness to prepare yourself with clear purpose. This is not the end of our conversation. It is the true beginning of a new and deeper one. Until we speak again, remain grounded in Him, keep your hope vibrant and alive, and stay true to the magnificent person He created you to be. Walk forward in the incredible purpose for which you were so carefully, so lovingly, and so perfectly made. As you begin to walk in the daily rhythm of gratitude and steadfastness, a beautiful and profound truth will begin to unfold before you. You will discover that the immense transformative work God has wrought in you, the forging in the fire, the victory over opposition, the cultivation of inner peace, the blessing of a steward's heart was never meant to terminate with you. It was not a private project for your benefit alone. Every tear, every trial, and every triumph was part of a much grander design to transform you into a sanctuary, a safe harbor, a source of life and peace for others. The river of provision and grace that has been unblocked in your life is not meant to become a stagnant lake. It is meant to flow through you to water the dry ground in the lives of those around you. This is the holy purpose of your legacy. Before this transformation, your relationships may have been unconsciously governed by the dynamics of the unseen war. They may have been based on need, on a search for validation, on a fear of abandonment, or on a subtle desire for control. In a state of inner lack, we subconsciously seek to draw life from others, which leads to draining, codependent, and often painful interactions. But you have been brought out of that barren land. Now, emerging from the sacred forge, your relationships are destined to be entirely redefined. The bonds you create, whether with your kin or with those who walk beside you on this journey, will now spring from a love that truly alters things, not one that merely survives trials. You will no longer engage with people from a place of personal need, because you are being made whole from within. Instead, you will engage with them from a place of divine fullness, able to give without needing a specific return, to love without condition, and to offer peace because you yourself possess it. Think of your very presence as a new form of ministry. In the past, you may have thought that serving God meant having the right answers, quoting the right scriptures, or holding a formal position. But God is showing you a deeper way. Those who share your space, your family, your friends, your colleagues, they will come to know the holy affection of God, not primarily through your talk, but by seeing His peace present in your actions. They will see it in the patient way you carry difficulties, in the words you offer that lift spirits instead of casting blame, in the way you share without reserve from what you have been given, and in your ability to quickly release grievances that would have once held you captive for weeks. Your life will become a testament. The friend in crisis will find themselves calling you first, not because you have a simple solution, but because they know they will find a non-anxious presence and a space free of judgment. The difficult family member may find their own heart softening over time, disarmed by a love from you that is no longer reactive or defensive. The colleague under immense pressure will look at your calm and ask, "How do you do it?" And your answer will not be a formula, but a story, the story of the work God has done in you. This is the essence of your transformed legacy. Your home becomes a sanctuary. Your conversations become a safe place. Your presence becomes a ministry of peace. You are becoming a living, breathing testimony to the restorative power of God. You will not have to force this. As you abide in Him, His presence in you will naturally draw those who are weary, wounded, and seeking. However, you must also be prepared for a different kind of reaction. Not everyone will understand or welcome the change in you. The source tells us this truth. Not everyone will grasp this truth, and that is perfectly all right, my beloved. Some will quietly resist, others will harbor doubts. A few might even speak poorly of what they were not meant to understand. The light in you can be uncomfortable for those who have grown accustomed to the dark. Your freedom can be intimidating to those who are still content in their own bondage. Your peace can feel like a silent judgment to those who thrive on chaos and drama. When this happens, you must remember your calling. Your task is not to convince others with logic or to defend the work God has done in you. Your job is not to argue your point, but to simply let the results of His work be seen. Let your consistent peace be your answer to their anxiety. Let your unwavering grace be your response to their criticism. Let your quiet strength be your reply to their attempts to draw you back into old dysfunctional dynamics. Your safety in these moments is found in staying close to God. This is because your decision to follow Him was never about seeking human approval. It was about fulfilling a sacred vow between you and your Creator. This is the ultimate fulfillment of your journey. You are now positioned to become a chain breaker. By walking in this new way in peace, in provision, in steadfastness, and in love, you are actively dismantling negative generational patterns of anger, fear, lack, and dysfunction. You are establishing a new legacy. You are creating a new spiritual atmosphere for those who come after you. The design God had for your lineage is now being realized through your surrendered life. Your personal transformation was the crucial first step. Your impact on the lives of others is the glorious and lasting fruit. My cherished child, we have journeyed far together in this communication. We have walked from the deep shadows of a hidden war into the brilliant light of a declared victory. You have heard the truth of your sacred appointment, the unmasking of the battle you have so bravely endured, the awesome power of your declaration, the profound purpose behind your pain, and the path to cultivating inner peace, a steward's heart, and a legacy of grace for others. This has not been a mere transfer of information. It has been an impartation from the Father's heart to yours. It is a framework for a new life, a new beginning that starts today. You have been equipped not just for your own peace, but to be a peacemaker, not just to be blessed, but to be a blessing to all you encounter. The place where you now stand, reading these final words, is sacred ground. You have been prepared, forged, and positioned for what lies ahead, a season of fruitfulness and purpose beyond what you have dared to imagine. Let these truths become the new foundation upon which you build your days. Let them sink deeper than bone and marrow, and let the quiet, powerful work that God has done inside you speak louder and more convincingly than any lingering fear or doubt. I urge you now to rise up, not filled with concern for the future, but with a profound sense of honor and deep affection for the one who has so lovingly and meticulously orchestrated all of this for you. Know this truth as you go forward, my cherished one. I am grateful for this time we have shared. I thank you for your courageous belief, for your steadfast trust, and for your willingness to prepare yourself with clear purpose. This is not the end of our conversation. It is the true beginning of a new and deeper one. Until we speak again, remain grounded in Him. Keep your hope vibrant and alive, and stay true to yourself in Him. Walk forward in the incredible purpose for which you were so carefully, so lovingly, and so perfectly made.